Welcome back to all my friends and family and everybody else who's joining me for the second or more times. And welcome to all my first time, as they say in church, guests and visitors. I do appreciate you for joining me on my channel today. Today I'm going to be talking about mental health. I'm so excited. I'm going to be laying down the groundwork of what I will be talking about weeks to come, because what's the good of you knowing about depression and bipolar and anxiety if you don't even know what mental health is as a whole? So I'll talk to you about the definition. I'll talk to you about some things to look for in your family, friends, or even yourself. And then I'm going to talk to you about myths. Some myths that have been shown on the internet, that have been compiled from people, worldwide, for things that they think about mental health that isn't even true at all. So I was trying to figure out how I wanted to start this. And why not do like we do in school? Sometimes, you get in school and you get into class for your first day and they're like, well, what do you know about blah, 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 blah? Well, what I'm going to do is I'm going to start with these myths, because these myths are stuff that I have heard my friends talk about. And I've actually even asked my brother before I did this video, like, hey, is this true or not? Have you heard this as a, somebody saying this in passing? And he confirmed basically everything that I've written down on this list. And so I got it off the internet, and we can't always trust the internet for stuff, but I know this is true because, like I said, I've heard it before. So we're gonna jump on into that. So children don't experience mental health issues or problems. That is completely not true. In fact, less than 20% of children and adolescents get treatment for what they need because people don't recognize the signs that they have. Adults don't recognize the signs and the symptoms that they have. So half of all mental health disorders show signs before the age of 14. So 50% of people who have mental health issues or disorders show signs and symptoms before they turn 14. 75% of those were shown before the age of 24. So of those 20% of people that don't get treatment, that's 80% of the population who goes untreated as kids, and those conditions can get worse. So if you see something in your children, it doesn't hurt to, get the help that is needed of them, because it can help them in their development. And some of these disorders can be reversed as children if it's treated in enough time. Another myth is that people with mental health problems are violent and they are unpredictable. So in actuality, only 3 to 5% of violent acts are committed by someone with a serious illness or mental health issue. And in fact, people with mental health issues are more likely to be the victim of a violent crime than the person with mental health issues committing a crime. So we see, especially now when society, with a lot of times with these high violent acts, people will claim insanity, and sometimes there's nothing really even wrong with them. So this also goes into actually getting diagnosed with mental illnesses and getting treatment for mental illness, because how is somebody going to be categorized as having a mental illness if they don't know and the world doesn't know? So another myth is people with mental health issues cannot handle the stress of having a job, and that is not true at all. They are just as productive as any other employee. It helps when they have a job because it keeps them accountable, and it ensures that they get the treatment that they need, and it gives them a purpose in life. And a lot of people with mental health issues, you wouldn't even know because they're hyperactive and they're highly functioning in the community. So personality weaknesses and character flaws is what causes mental health issues. And people with mental health problems could just snap out of it. Not true at all. So many people who have these mental health issues, they need help to get better, and that takes support of their friends and family members. So if somebody's just telling them just to snap out of it, it's not going to help them get the treatment that they need. So there are 3 sets of factors that go into the development of mental health problems. So there's biological factors like your physical illnesses, injuries, maybe a brain illness. There's life experiences such as trauma, history of abuse, and then there's family history of mental health issues. So that goes into the importance of talking to your family and getting to know, the breakdown, who has depression, who might have committed suicide, who has drug abuse and drug use disorders, things like that, because that can tell a person that it's not really just them, it's something deeper than them. So another myth is that there is no hope for recovery for people with mental health issues, which is not true at all, because many people do recover, and then most people do get better with treatment, but it has to be consistent and it has to be encouraged by their family and friends, because if they're discouraged to go, why would they want to continue to go, right? Then therapy and self-help are a waste of time, because whatever. I don't know why people say that therapy isn't a help, because if you injure your leg, you go to physical therapy, right? And in order for you to get better, you have to have therapy for it to get better, because if you continue to use and abuse your leg while it's injured, it's not going to get any better, right? So therapy, mental health therapy, is the same thing. If your brain is injured and tired and broken down, you need somebody to help you get back to where you can get to. And it's not just, therapy isn't the only thing. You have medications, and then you have treatment, and then you can put them together. So those are the three types of ways that people get better: therapy, medication, and then a combination of both. And if it's consistent, it will get better. A lot of people go to therapy once and they don't like the outcome, and then they don't go back. That's like going to physical therapists for an injury. They evaluate you on the first appointment, and then you don't go back because they didn't treat you. You have to continue to go back in order for them to give you the treatment. You could develop a treatment plan, develop medication that you need, and then get you back to where you want to be. And then the last myth is that coming from a person, a family member or a friend, they say that, I can't do anything for a person with a mental health issue or a problem, which is not true at all. So only 44% of adults, and again, 20% of children receive the treatment that they need. So can you imagine how much more that would be if your family and friends encourage you to go get treatment, or encourage you to continue medication, or encourage you to talk about your issues? So with that, there's a list of things that are solved that family and friends can do to help that person get the encouragement that they need to continue therapy. So that is, reaching out and showing availability, showing that person that, hey, I'm here for you if you need me. I'm here. I can listen. I might not know all the answers, but I'm here for you. That can go a long way. Helping access mental health services. Some people can't get to the doctor. So if you are a family or friend of that person and you help them get to their appointment, that can help them get better. Learning facts about mental health and sharing it. If you don't know, you don't know. But if you do know and you share with other people, you can stop these same myths from being spread, and you can help, positively influence your friend or family member who has the issues, and help them to get the help that they need. Treating that person with respect. A lot of times people feel disrespected because people don't take their mental health concerns seriously. So treat them with the same respect you would treat with somebody who doesn't have mental health issues. And the last thing is refusing to define them by their mental health issues and not putting a label on what they have. The worst thing you can do for your friend who is expressing to you that they have a mental health issue is telling them that they're crazy, or constantly throwing it back in their face, the same thing that they told you, because that will cause them to shut down, because you're a person that they trust. So these are just some myths, and you may have heard some of them, you may not have heard some of them, but it's just that easy, and it takes us knowing more about these topics for us to be able to break those myths. So what is mental health? Mental health is our emotional, psychological, and social well-being. It's how we do everything. It's how we think. It's how we feel. It's how we act. It's how we react in everyday situations. It determines how we handle stress, how we relate to others, and how we even make choices. So again, like I stated before, there's three main factors that go into the breakdown of how mental health problems are started. Biological factors, genes, brain chemistry, life experiences, trauma and abuse, and family history of mental health issues. And if you get to know those 3 factors, it can go a long way in preventing it and treating it. So what are some early warning signs that you might be asking? So simple things such as eating or sleeping too much or too little, pulling away from people, and stopping activities that you usually participate in. Those are some big factors. Having low or no energy can be categorized to different factors, different disorders. Feeling numb or like nothing matters, having unexplained aches or pains in your body that you just don't know where it came from, feeling helpless or hopeless, or both. Smoking, drinking, using drugs more than usual, feeling usually confused or unusually confused, forgetful, edgy, angry, moody, upset, worried, scared, and all of these things could be out of the blue. Yelling or fighting with family members or friends out of nowhere, experiencing severe mood swings with relationships and friendships, having persistent thoughts and feelings that you can't just shake or you can't get out of your head or you can't explain or you don't know where they're coming from, hearing voices or believing things that aren't true or believing that people are out to get you, thinking about harming yourself or others. And there's the inability to take care of daily tasks like taking care of your kids, going to school, driving to work, cooking for yourself. And those are just a few of the things. There's a plethora of signals, but these are things where if you start to recognize them in your friend and there's multiple symptoms, then that might show you that there's a mental health issue that might be brewing or might be evident that you might not be aware of. So why is mental health and wellness a good thing, having positive mental health? Because it helps people realize their full potential. It helps you cope with stresses of life. Your work productivity is a lot better. And then you make meaningful contributions to the community. So those are just some of the things that are entailed with mental health. And then those things combined, the factors combined make up the different disorders. And of course, different symptoms and different disorders kind of go hand in hand with each other. So I'll just kind of talk about a few of the disorders. We'll just list them, and then later on in my next videos, I'll talk about the disorders in depth. So we have anxiety disorders. So this has to do with a lot of fear and dread and maybe obsessive compulsive or panic disorders or phobias. So then we have behavioral disorders. So those are the things like ADHD or ODD or, stuff that triggers a lot of times with children, but then it can stem in adults as well. And it hurts them with things like keeping focus in school or in work. And there's eating disorders, bulimia, anorexia, stuff like that. So then you have mental health and substance abuse and use disorders. We don't talk about that a lot, and people don't feel like it's a disorder, if you have a drinking problem, but it really is. It's a disorder because once it gets too bad, you can't just shake it on your own. You can't just stop. Mood disorders, they can be depression, bipolar, self-harm, things of these natures. So they have persistent feelings of sadness or periods of feeling overly happy. So it varies with the disorder that it is. Obsessive compulsive disorder, and then with this, you have repeated and obsessive thoughts and feelings. Personality disorders, these could be antisocial personality disorder, borderline personality disorder, things of that nature. So these are personality traits that are causing problems in school, work, home, and then even just hobbies that you're doing. Psychotic disorders, the main one that people know about is schizophrenia. So this is dealing with the brain basically playing tricks on people. So you have hallucinations, delusions, things of that nature. Suicidal behavior. Suicidal behavior is a mental health disorder because it isn't just a thought. It takes over your whole mind. And if not treated, it can end in death. And sometimes it becomes a homicide and suicide. So this is really important to get treated. And then trauma and stress related disorders. So the main one that we know about is PTSD, post-traumatic stress disorder. But then there's also other stuff like postpartum depression or postpartum disorder. So those are things that, you know, happen every single day, and it doesn't have to be just because somebody, you know, went to war. It could be, you know, the death of a loved one that the person found the body or something to that nature. So again, I will be talking about all of these topics in depth later on. I just hope this video kind of just showed you what mental health is, what mental health is not. Kind of get your brain thinking about what mental health is. Maybe you have missed signs in your friends or family members. Maybe you've even missed signs in yourself. So hopefully this video just sparked your thoughts about mental health and will spark you to come join me on another video. So if you like this video, please like this video below. Please share this video. Drop comments about anything that you wish to drop. If there's a topic that you would like to discuss, drop that in the comment box as well. And thank you so much for tuning in.